Welcome to the College of Kinesiologists of Ontario's webinar on the Entry to Practice examination. The Entry to Practice exam is offered twice per year, in the spring and in the fall. It is administered online and is remotely proctored by an invigilator. The exam is available in English and French. The exam is comprised of 170 to 180 multiple choice questions, which includes both case-based and independent questions. There's only one correct answer for each question on the exam. Completion of the exam is a non-exemptable registration requirement. This means you must pass this exam before you can obtain a certificate of registration to practice kinesiology in Ontario. The exam is based on the kinesiologist core competency profile, which describes the minimum expectations from kinesiologists at the entry to practice level and what an entry-level practitioner should know and be able to do on day one of the job, regardless of the practice area. 25 to 30% of the questions on the exam are based on the practice standards and guidelines. All applicants should have a good understanding of the college's practice standards and guidelines prior to challenging the exam. The exam blueprint provides an outline of the exam and how each competency domain is scored. All of this information is also available on our website. The college website provides a plethora of information on how applicants can prepare for the exam. Applicants are encouraged to review and familiarize themselves with the resources offered. And remember, don't be in a hurry. You can always postpone writing if you're not prepared. The pass score for the exam is 450 on a scale from 100 to 700. All questions have the same weight and results are reported as either pass or fail. Only applicants who fail the exam are provided a detailed report. If you fail, you have the right to request that your exam be rescored, but there is a fee associated with this. The pass score for the exam is set by the examination committee using two methods. The first, the modified Angoff method, requires each committee member to independently rate each question on the exam in terms of the minimally competent applicant. The ratings from all committee members are then collated and tabulated to achieve the average rating per question. These ratings are then averaged to obtain the pass score for the total exam. The equating method compares applicants' performance on particular questions in one exam administration to the performance of those in previous administrations. The purpose of this is to gauge the relative difficulty of the current exam and the relative strength of the applicants. To successfully prepare for the exam, it is recommended that you use a personal computer. If you are using a work or school computer, check with your IT team to confirm that you can download and install programs. Also make sure that your computer has installed all system updates. Additionally, make sure your computer has a webcam and properly functioning microphone. The proctor must be able to see and hear you while you are writing the exam. Ensure you have a reliable internet connection. We strongly recommend you use a hardwired cable connection if possible. If you must use Wi-Fi, make sure it is nearby. We encourage you to choose a quiet, private, well-lit location that is free from other people or distractions to write the exam. You must also test at a hard surface, like a desk or table. We also recommend that you test your computer equipment prior to exam day on the Measure platform once registered. You are only allowed to use one computer screen on the day of the exam. Dual monitors are not permitted. You will need to review the equipment requirements to ensure that your computer is compatible with the exam software. We strongly recommend that your RAM and CPU be below the recommended minimum threshold. This is to avoid any potential technical issues during the exam. It is recommended that you have Google Chrome downloaded as your browser to access your CKO examination profile through Measure Learning. Please ensure you have disabled the pop-up blocker. You must also download Measure Learning's Guardian Secure Browser and Proctor Chat application prior to the exam. For anyone who took the exam in previous years, the Guardian browser is new and must be downloaded in order to sit the exam. The Guardian browser will be launched separately through your CKO examination profile. This browser provides additional exam security and stability over commercial browsers. We strongly recommend you install the Guardian browser prior to the day of the exam. Finally, you are strongly encouraged to complete the platform tutorial, which is designed to help you get familiar with the exam software. On the exam day, you should be at your desk and ready to begin at least 30 minutes before the start of the exam. If you are more than 15 minutes late, you will not be permitted to write. No refund will be issued in these circumstances. You will be required to show an original piece of unexpired, government-issued photo identification, such as a driver's license or passport, on the day of the exam. Health cards are not accepted, and please be aware that candidates will not be able to proceed with the exam if they cannot be properly authenticated. We encourage that you wear comfortable clothing, as you will be writing the exam for 3.5 hours. Lastly, please review the CKO website for a list of permissible and non-permissible items during the exam. To prepare your workspace, you must remove any notes, books, and electronic devices from your desk. If possible, position your desk with a closed door behind you. Ensure your room is private and free from distractions. If you wear a watch, you'll be required to remove it. But you will be able to keep a few things with you, such as your photo identification, your cell phone, and also a beverage if you have one. Please note that food will not be allowed unless you have a special accommodation that has been approved. To successfully launch your exam on exam day, you must log into your candidate portal and click the Launch Exam button at your exam time. You will be required to download and run the LogMeIn Rescue applet. This will allow you to chat with your proctor during the exam. After downloading, you will find it in the Downloads folder or your default download location. Once installed and running, you should be redirected to the proctor platform and will be connected to the exam proctor within 15 minutes of logging in. The launch process involves authentication of your identity, an environment check of the room and your computer, a person check to ensure that only the permissible items that you are allowed to bring in the exam are with you, and a review of the exam rules, which will be provided by the proctor. Please note that this process does not count toward your exam time. During the exam, you're encouraged to read all instructions. If you do not understand what you have been told, ask the exam proctor before the exam officially begins. Also, be mindful of your time. You have 3.5 hours to complete the exam. Reminders will be given at the 1-hour mark, 30-minute mark, and 15-minute mark of the exam. If you do not know the answer to a question, you can skip it and return to it at a later time, provided you have not reached the halfway mark. If you still do not know the answer, make a guess. No points are deducted for wrong answers. We encourage you to pay attention to key words in the questions. Notify your proctor of any unforeseen circumstances or irregularities that may arise during the exam. Please use the chat box to communicate with the proctor at all times. Also, remember to let the proctor know that you wish to take your scheduled break and when you return from the break. The exam is split into 2 parts. The first part of the exam is 1 hour and 45 minutes, followed by a 15-minute break. Candidates can choose to take a break after completing 100 questions or at the 1 hour and 45-minute mark. The total break time is 15 minutes. However, in order for the proctor to re-secure the exam room, candidates are required to return to the exam room after 10 minutes. The break is optional, and you may skip it and continue writing the exam. Please note that you will not be permitted to answer any questions in Part 1 after the break. The break will not be deducted from the allotted time of the exam. Both the college and the exam administrator take exam security very seriously. Breaches of the exam are reported in three main categories. The first, authentication, which is the inability of applicants to provide valid proof of their ID. The second, behavioral, which constitutes the continued use of unpermitted resources after a warning to discontinue such use has been given by the proctor. And lastly, exam security, which is a blatant attempt to capture exam content. Exam results will be issued 4 to 6 weeks after the exam date. Immediately following the exam, candidates will be asked to complete 2 surveys on their experience writing the exam, asking for suggestions on how to improve the exam and how their teaching institutions may have better prepared them to be successful. The surveys are completely optional and anonymous. We encourage all candidates to complete both surveys as they will help us improve the exam process and inform programming at the institutional level. The college has a duty to accommodate to the point of undue hardship. This means that accommodation need not be provided if it causes the college undue or excessive hardship. Accommodations may be made for medical reasons at the discretion of the college based on submission of supporting medical documentation. An accommodation to allow food will be made based on medical needs at the discretion of the college. Please refer to our website for more information about accommodation requests. Applicants must pass the exam within 3 attempts or 4 years, whichever comes first. The first attempt of the exam must be taken within 1 year of paying the examination fee. It is important to note that applicants who exceed these timelines must be referred to the registration committee and be approved for an exemption prior to challenging the exam. After a third unsuccessful attempt at the exam, an applicant is not eligible to take the exam again until they complete another program in kinesiology offered at the bachelor level at an Ontario university or a substantially equivalent program. Applicants can defer writing the exam up to 15 days before the exam for any reason if they are not ready and wish to write the exam at a later date. Applicants who no longer wish to proceed with the exam and withdraw at least 15 days before the date of the exam will receive a 50% refund of the exam fee. We cannot stress enough the importance of testing your computer on the Measure platform before and on exam day. This includes completing the necessary system checks, ensuring your webcam and audio work, and that you have a stable internet connection. Again, please ensure that your RAM and CPU are below the minimum recommended threshold. Also, it is important to confirm your booking. The booking is made in Eastern Standard Time. If you are writing the exam from outside of Ontario, remember to confirm the start time of the exam in your current time zone. If you experience any technical issues like the one above, or you miss your appointment, you can rebook your exam for the next business day at an additional fee of $160. The original exam fee will not be refunded. If you require support with testing your equipment on the Measure Learning platform, or if you experience technical issues while writing the exam, please contact Measure Learning at the following: through the real-time chat, by phone at 1-855-772-8678 option 1, or by email testingsupport@measurelearning.com. Thank you for your attention. Please visit our website at www.coko.ca for a listing of frequently asked questions on the exam. You may also contact us at examination@ COKO.ca.